Mic check. Mic check. 1 2. Mic check. 1 2.
Mic check. 1 2. Have had the privilege of serving as your provost and vice president for academic affairs for almost 5 years. And I was given that honor by the 10th president of Fort Valley State University, Dr. Paul Jones, who unfortunately could not be with us here today. And I had the privilege and honor being invited by her niece, Miss Kitchens, to actually speak at one of her birthdays that exceeded the 100 mark. And so to Miss Kitchens and the Kitchens family, we want to thank you for more than $10,000 worth of generosity to teacher education here at Fort Valley State University. And not only do we have the generous support of the Kitchens, we also have with us the Macon Links Incorporated chapter. And see, I would be remiss not to acknowledge them as a connecting link myself to link Jamila Stewart. But I appreciate to the Macon Links the fact that you are not only linked in friendship, but also connected in service. And through your friendship and through your service, these young men and women that are honored here today will be able to embrace their new profession. They will be able to embrace the young men and women that they will work with, but most importantly, they will be able to serve just like the Links. And when we talk about serving, it's so appropriate. The theme today is simply preparing proficient educators. And I think that now more than ever is so appropriate as we think about COVID-19 and we think about this pandemic and we think about how teachers throughout the world lost the opportunity to interact and engage face-to-face with the young men and women that they tried to shape, groom, and mold into the future leaders of tomorrow. And so for the 18 honorees that are here with us today, know that you are those change agents. Know that you are those potters that will shape that clay to make education a success. And how do I know that? I know that because I know personally about the indelible mark that education leaves on us. See, I know being a little boy from southern West Virginia in my humble beginnings where my single mother dropped out of high school in the 9th grade, but I know about some teachers that I had along the way. One of them, my 6th grade teacher, Miss Mary Clark. Miss Clark, see, believe it or not, while I never failed a grade, I actually was in her class twice. I was in her class twice because my 5th grade teacher, Miss Thompson, could not quite comprehend what to do and how to do it with somebody with as much energy as me. I probably should have went to detention, to tell you the truth. But what happens is Miss Clark, she took me under her wings and she made sure that I had an opportunity to learn what I needed to learn in the 5th grade, but she also embraced me when I was a 6th grader, and she made me feel like I was something. And it was an honor. Miss Clark actually has a daughter or a sister that lives in Warner Robins. And I was able to host my 6th grade teacher here at Fort Valley State University, and I'll never forget, she just looked at me and she said, "I'm so proud of what you have become." And I looked back and I said, "Thank you for making me able and capable to be me." And when you think about those capabilities, it was in Miss Clark's classroom that, and I know many of you do not remember this event, that we saw the Challenger space shuttle blow up. I'm just telling my age a little bit, but when we saw that, we never thought it would be possible to witness something like that, just like you guys probably never thought it was possible for teachers to flourish during this COVID-19 pandemic. And that's because you have that ability to leave that indelible mark, not only like Miss Clark, but also like my childhood mentor, who was a retired teacher and principal named Ellis Ray Williams. And we used to build walls, and no matter where you go and what you do, you always taught that any structure you build is built on a solid foundation. And so I want to thank Mr. Williams and his 99 years of wisdom, where he taught me to start the places that are least seen. And I say that because Mr. Williams would be so proud of the 18 of you that are here at Fort Valley State University, building a solid foundation upon which you will be like Miss Mary Clark. You will be like Mr. Ellis Ray Williams. You will be those transformative educators that leave an indelible mark on your students. And so as I close and you think about that mark that you will leave, I would be remiss without reminding you simply that to whom much is given, much is expected. Today, ladies and gentlemen, this is the day that we start something special. This is the day that you live up and appreciate and embrace the motto of Fort Valley State University, which is simply empower the possible. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's event. To our honorees, thank you for being the epitome of what we do here at Fort Valley State University. And again, that's empower the possible.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart. Now, we will have our invocation by Professor Juwan Brown.
Let us look unto the Lord. Most gracious Father, we come before your throne of grace saying thank you. Lord, we thank you for this day. We commit this day to you. Lord, we ask that you would touch each and every person under the sound of my voice. And Father, as we plan for our futures today, Lord, we ask that you would guide each and every step that we take. Lord, I ask that you would bless these future educators, and Lord, bless those who you have put in place to help them get to where they need to be. And Father, we ask that you would anoint the speaker today, that she would get manna straight from the throne of grace, that the words that she would give to them would be planted on good ground. And when we leave this place and not your presence, we will know that it is you who has guided our steps. It is you who keeps us. It is you who loves us. And it is you who guides us. And it's you who will come back for us. These things we ask in one voice. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Professor Brown. Dr. Stewart wanted me to let you all know that his 6th grade teachers actually tuned in watching us virtually. Next, we'll have the introduction of the speaker by Mr. Jalen Louder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Jalen Louder. I was born and raised in Warner Robins, Georgia. I'm a graduating senior in health and physical education. And I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Beth Day Harrison. Excuse me, I apologize for that. Mrs. Beth Day Harrison. And some may ask, why did I go back and change doctor? Well, after getting a chance to sit down and speak and talk to this incredible, yes, I put a T in there, incredible woman, she gave a phrase that I would never forget. She simply said, I am still someone without that doctor in front of my name. When she told me that, it set me back. It made me really think and really want to get to know her even more. That doctor doesn't define who she is. She is a family woman who loves her 2 sons, Carl Harrison Jr. and Morgan Harrison, and a husband by the name of Gregory C. Harrison Sr. of 35 years the most. A woman who's very involved in her church and loves to get back to her community. She's a woman who simply loves to cook. Mac and cheese are a specialty, but I think I can beat her in that, honestly, y'all. She's a product of 2 loving and hardworking parents from a small town, New Jersey, where her mother was a teacher. Growing up and seeing her help and change people's lives from the time she was 9 years old, she knew this is what she wanted to be. So she began to carry herself as a teacher, walk like a teacher, act like a teacher, and simply talk like a teacher. She's a proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Special Education. She then went on to earn a Master's of Arts degree in Special Education from Appalachian State University, to then finally getting her doctorate in Special Education and Literacy from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. From the very first moment I met Ms. Beth Day Harrison, she's been a realist. I was just tired that day, I promise you. This comes as no surprise for her love with J. Cole music, and also how she prides herself in building relationships with her students, parents, faculty, and staff. So without further ado, I am forever grateful and honored to introduce our new Dean of College Education and Professional Studies, Ms. Beth Day Harrison.
Every day in America, 5 children are killed by abuse or neglect. 59 children or teens are injured or killed with a gun. 589 public school students are corporally punished. 1,683 babies are born into poverty every day in America. 2,956 high school students dropped out. 14,640 public school students are suspended every day in America. And congratulations, Fort Valley State University 2021 inductees, you want to be a teacher. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You deserve a hand clap for embarking on the most noble profession I know. Good morning, Provost Stewart, students, colleagues, parents, friends, distinguished guests, and most importantly, our inductees. Welcome to the 14th Annual Educator Induction Ceremony, sponsored by the College of Education and Professional Studies at Fort Valley State University. Thank you, Mr. Jalen Louder, for that introduction. You embody the disposition that I want to see that teachers have, especially if they would teach my 2 young men. Jalen was a phenomenal interviewer. He tried to interview me, but I learned more about him than I think he learned about me. And I believe that this is the type of student that we need at Fort Valley State University. He shared with me how it was really important that he have a level of excellence while he was growing up as a child. And so in order to survive in the Louder home, he had to do what they told him to do, or he would not probably be a 3.7, have a 3.7 GPA, serve on the football team. And eventually, once he graduates from Fort Valley, he's thinking about going back to school and getting a master's degree in special education. Of course, I had nothing to do with that. That's because of the teachers that he has at Fort Valley State University. But again, thank you for that introduction. I am humbled that the planning committee would ask me to serve as the keynote speaker as the new dean of the College of Education and Professional Studies, and excited to be here today in my first induction ceremony as we celebrate 18 young people who are entering the education profession in spite of the issues plaguing the field because they have a desire to be proficient teachers. I tell you the statistics so that you will understand our role is more than just teaching. We must look at the whole child and what we're dealing with outside of school. We have a responsibility to these young people with whom we have been entrusted to teach. Today, we celebrate these inductees as they follow this pathway to teaching and will take an oath later to become teachers. Many did not make it this far because they were discouraged from becoming teachers or were concerned about salaries. And I know these young people are not concerned about the salaries they're going to make. They have that passion for teaching. However, one thing we don't often hear is that teaching is a profession ordained by God. The Bible tells of the greatest teacher ever and provides references for us of what proficient teachers do. For instance, the Bible tells us to use illustrations, proverbs, rhetorical questions that can be found in Luke, lecturing, giving homework, and how to follow up on homework once you give it to students in math. Now, I'm not proselytizing today, ladies and gentlemen, but this is a profession that sometimes does not get the due respect needed for the job that we have to do to mold young minds to become anything they want to become in life. There is power in teaching. Study after study shows the single most important factor determining the quality of the education a child receives is the quality of his or her teacher. So at Fort Valley State University, I applaud the faculty in the College of Education and Professional Studies in our educator preparation program who are preparing our young people to be proficient educators. There are many characteristics of great or proficient teachers that I want to share with you about while you're matriculating at Fort Valley State University. Proficient teachers set high expectations for all teachers. Proficient teachers have clear written out objectives. Proficient teachers are prepared and organized. Proficient teachers engage students and get them to look at issues in ways. Proficient teachers form strong relationships with their students and show that they care about them. Proficient teachers are masters of their subject matter. Proficient teachers communicate frequently with parents. They reach out to parents through conferences and frequently send written reports home. These are all skills that you must do with the level of excellence to be proficient teachers. Great Schools reports that teaching demands broad knowledge of subject matter, curriculum, and standards, enthusiasm, a caring attitude, and a love for learning, knowledge of the discipline and classroom management techniques, and a desire to make a difference in the lives of young people. It's my last statement, a desire to make a difference, that I want to emphasize in my remarks today as I reflect on the theme, preparing proficient educators. I'm going to share with you a 5-step plan on how to be proficient that helps you go from awareness, knowledge, sensitivity, competence, to social action through the lens of my journey into the teaching profession. My desire to make a difference started long before I became a teacher. So I started my career with this heart for teaching. I'm a teacher because of my very first teacher. My mother was a gifted special education teacher and later became a school counselor. I watched my mother encourage and inspire children with whom she taught. She started out at Elliott Street School in Newark, New Jersey, with blind children. And I watched my mother bring those children into our homes. She wanted the children to understand what it was like to live with a family of people who could see. And she wanted us, I'm a twin, she wanted my sister and I to be able to recognize differences, disability, how to help people that had issues or concerns that we did not have. So very early, you heard Jalen say, by the age of 9 years old, I knew I was going to be a teacher because I watched my mother as she went into children's homes, as she visited parents. She engaged the help of my father, who was a former executive director of the YMCA, and children were always in our homes, or we were at the Y, learned how to swim at a very early age. And my parents made sure that we didn't go to the Y on the other side of the town with people that did not look like us. We were at the Y with people that looked like us so that we would know how to engage and how to befriend and how to care about other people. So I saw my mother in these homes. I saw my parents mentoring people. My cultural lens was making a difference. I saw my parents trying to make a difference in the lives of other children. That is what I thought I was supposed to do by any means necessary. I was supposed to make home visits when I became a teacher. I was supposed to invite students into my home when I became a teacher. I was supposed to find resources to help those students when I became a teacher. I was supposed to have a heart of what I do when I became a teacher. I was supposed to give to those in need. So when I started teaching, that's all I knew. I was in my second year of teaching as a special ed teacher at a school when a young man came to me early in the morning about the first day of school. And he said to me, "Miss Hairston, I'm hungry." I said, "Baby, you hungry? Let's go down to the cafeteria and find you something to eat." I go to the cafeteria, I get the young man something to eat. Tony, we come back to the school, he eats. Tony comes back to school the next day. He says, "Miss Hairston, I'm hungry." I said, "Baby, you hungry? We're going to go down to the cafeteria. We're going to get you something to eat, my brother." So we get him something to eat. He comes back. Mama comes to school the next day. She says, "Miss Harrison, thank you so much for providing food for Tony. I really appreciate it. I was wondering if I could borrow $10. So I went to my pocketbook and I give Sister Girl $10. She said, "Thank you." Okay. She comes back about 2-3 days later. She said, "Miss Harrison, I was wondering if I could borrow $20. I said, "Okay." What do you think I did? I went in my pocketbook, a little, I made a lot. And I got $20. Would you all have given me $20? I heard enough. Okay. All right. But remember, I grew up in a house where my parents told me, if I can help someone along the way, then my life will not be in vain. My parents resonated in my head. Because you have more, you have to give more. What good is money if you can't share it? I thought that resounded in my head. So I went to the school counselor and I said, you know, this family keeps coming back asking me for things. She said, Beth, you're doing it all wrong. You don't give people money. You're an enabler. You got to find resources that can help this family to be successful. So she said, instead of giving them money, you need to go to the store and buy them what it is that you need and then bring it to the house. That's the importance of having wraparound services or having school counselors or having special ed teachers or of having a social worker at the school. This person happened to be a social worker, and she told me about different resources that I needed to access. So I decided I went to the store, I bought all these things that I thought that the family would need. I arrived at the house with all the groceries. They live in a housing development. And yes, I call it a housing development. You might call it something else, or the literature of society calls it the projects. But anybody that lives in a housing development doesn't want you calling where they live the project. I don't know why we use that word. But I ended up at the house with all these groceries. What do you think I saw when I walked into the house to deliver these groceries to the family, young people? What do you think I saw? Loss. What else did I see? What do you think I saw, young people, when I walked in the house thinking that this family was in poverty? What do you think I saw? Lots of stuff. What else? What was that? What do you think that stuff looked like? Nice television, big screen television. What else? Groceries. Money. Lots of kids. You know what? Society has done a good job on you, because the response that you gave to me are the stereotypes that society says happens when you walk into these impoverished settings. But when I walked into this house, I really saw an impoverished setting. Now, they may be stereotypes to some people, but I had to think, when I walked into this house, I saw child poverty. I saw housing issues. I saw child hunger. I saw child health. I saw lack of education in a mother that was trying to raise 5 children. I saw a mother on welfare. She told me about nightly gunfire in her neighborhood. She told me about the side of town that she lived on. She told me she was raising Black males. She told me she was a single household mother that needed help with these children. And this boy, her son, came to my class. All he needed was something to eat. And you mean to tell me I couldn't not help him? Again, resonating in my head, on my shoulder were my parents. If I can help someone along the way, then my life will not be in vain. Because you have more, Beth, you have to give more. What good is money, Beth, if you don't share it? So as a teacher, remember, good, proficient teachers desire to make a difference. I came back to the school the next day, and I galvanized people at my school. Second year as a teacher, and we began to put together resources to help this family to be successful. I found somebody that would take the young man to get his hair cut. I found somebody that could help us create a clothing line. I engendered the support of my husband. You know, when you're in a family, I've been married 35 years. If I do something, he's gonna be doing something. So he had to help me along the way. And we had these wraparound services. So school was just a place to this young man to get away so he could have a meal. I had to be about action. That's what good, proficient teachers do. They've got to be about action. I had a desire to make a difference. So my task today was to describe to you, I was asked to talk to you about what it means to be a proficient educator. which I already described, the academic practices that we need to have as teachers to make a difference. But I want to take the academic liberty today to say that I want you to not just be a proficient educator, young people, but I want you to be a culturally proficient educator. What does that mean? I want you to operationalize the cultural piece. Several years ago, I was the principal investigator of an almost $1 million grant. And as the principal investigator, we came up with a grant that provided cultural competence to the early childhood profession. And we came up with a cultural competence model that had 4 levels to it: awareness, knowledge, sensitivity, and competence. And that's what good teachers have to do in their classroom. So, and this desire to make a difference, but I added one more that was not a part of the grant, and it was social action. So it's one thing to know something. You know, you first have to have this awareness, then you have to have the knowledge, then you have to have the sensitivity or the heart, but then you gotta do something about this. You get to the confidence level, then you gotta get social action. So the first thing, awareness, aware of the problem. The little boy I told you about, I was aware that there was a problem. I knew that there was an issue. And that took me to my second level, the knowledge that I had, the cultural knowledge that there were some inequalities in the school that I had to make sure that I shared with other people. According to the Children's Defense Fund, children in poor families and children of color begin school behind their peers as they are more likely to lack access to high quality early development and learning opportunities. Recent data shows the majority of public school students cannot read or compute at grade level, and poor and low income children and children of color are particularly behind. If we know that information, if we have that knowledge, what are we doing if we know it and we do nothing about it? So when you have more, you got to do more. So our first job as teachers was this awareness. Then we get to that knowledge level. I saw those inequalities that were taking place. So then I have to have the heart to do something about it. That's the sensitivity, doing something about it. And I began to advocate for little children, going around to the schools to find the things that were needed. After you have that sensitivity, then you have to begin to transform what happens in a school. And we had to make changes. And finally, I had to have a desire to want to make that change and move to social action. And the social action was creating those wraparound services for students. So when you do this, you become a culturally responsive teacher where you end up getting to a level of social action. And so when we get to social action, we have to galvanize other people in order to make a difference. And the Children's Defense Fund gives us solutions on how to arrive there. First, we have to advocate for promoting equitable school funding. We have to work to reduce the achievement gap. That's our role as teachers. So when you're in your reading class and you're learning strategies on how to do that, we've got to listen so those things make a difference when we're in the school. And we have to end the school to prison pipeline. And when I say end the school to prison pipeline, you're probably wondering, how do we do that as teachers? Well, what is that school to prison pipeline? There are policies that encourage police presence at schools using harsh tactics, including physical restraint and automatic punishments that result in suspensions and out of class time. My last few years of teaching, I was in a high school where probably on a weekly basis, I saw police come in, handcuff my children with disabilities, and place them in a patrol car and head off to the jailhouse. How do we reduce that? We have to be careful in the way we talk to children, the way we communicate with children, not putting them out of class, but trying to find ways to help them to be successful. And the fourth thing is that we have to expand our after-school and summer literacy opportunities. So when you see opportunities to volunteer in summer school or to start an after-school program, that becomes action. That's what we do as teachers. So as proficient educators, this 5-step plan is a recursive process. We have to have a sense of awareness. We have to have the knowledge. We have to have the cultural sensitivity. We have to have the competence. And in order to get the competence, which is transformation, to make a change so that we have social action. We have to have a desire to make a difference. So now that you have this 5-step plan, I'd like to close with a story about another teacher's journey. This teacher is not me, but it could be any teacher in America, and hopefully it might be you one day. As she stood in front of her 5th grade class on the very first day of school, she told the children the untruth. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said that she loved them all the same. However, that was impossible because there in the front row, slumped in his seat, was a little boy named Teddy Stoddard. Miss Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he did not play well with the other children, that his clothes were messy, and that he constantly needed a bath. In addition, Teddy could be unpleasant. It got to the point where Miss Thompson would actually take delight in marking his papers with a broad ribbon pen, marking X's, and then putting a big F at the top of his paper. At the school where Miss Thompson taught, she was required to review each child's past records, and she put Teddy's off until last. However, she received his file. She was in for a surprise. Teddy's 1st grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and he has good manners. He's a joy to be around." His 2nd grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he struggles because his mother has a terminal illness and life at home must be a struggle." His 3rd grade teacher wrote, "His mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show any interest and his home life will soon affect him if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's 4th grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends and he sometimes sleeps in class." By now, Ms. Thompson realized the problem and she was ashamed of herself. She felt even worse when her students brought her Christmas presents, wrapped in beautiful ribbons and bright paper, except for Teddy. His present was clumsily wrapped in heavily brown paper that he got from a grocery bag. Miss Thompson took pains to open it in the middle of the other presents. Some of the children started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing and a bottle that was half full, a quarter full of perfume. But she stifled the children's laughter when she explained how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume on her wrist. Teddy Stoddard stayed after school that day, just long enough to say to Miss Thompson that "you smell just like my mother used to." After the children left, she cried for at least an hour. On that very day, she quit teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. Instead, she began to teach children. Miss Thompson paid a particular attention to Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind seemed to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. By the end of the year, Teddy had become one of the smartest children in the class. And despite her lie that she would love all the children the same, Teddy became one of her teacher's pets. A year later, she found a note under her door from Teddy, telling her that she was the best teacher he had had in his whole life. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school, third in his class, and she was still the best teacher he had ever had in his whole life. 4 years after that, she got another letter saying that while things had been tough at times, he stayed in school, had stuck with it, and would soon graduate from college with the highest of honors. He assured Ms. Thompson that she was still the best and favorite teacher he had ever had in his whole life. Then 4 more years passed, and yet another letter came. This time, he explained that after he got his bachelor's degree, he decided to go a little further. The letter explained that she was still the best and favorite teacher he had ever had, but now his name was a little longer. The letter was signed Theodore S. Stoddard, M.D. The story doesn't end there. You see, there was yet another letter that spring. Teddy said he had met this girl and was going to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago, and he was wondering if Miss Thompson might agree to sit at the wedding in the place that was usually reserved for the mother of the groom. Of course, Miss Thompson did. And guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with several rhinestones missing. Moreover, she made sure she was wearing that leftover perfume that Teddy remembered his mother wearing on their last Christmas together. They hugged each other, and Dr. Stoddard whispered in Miss Thompson's ear, "Thank you, Miss Thompson, for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." Miss Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you. Young people, one day you will make a difference in the lives of children. Pay attention here at Fort Valley State University. When your professors are teaching you about becoming culturally proficient teachers, Ms. Thompson exemplifies the type of leadership we should all take notice of. She helped this little boy, Teddy, feel like he was important and changed his life. Thank you for deciding to become a teacher. Induction candidates, if you're prepared to treat children with respect, I want you to enthusiastically say, "Yes, I will." Yes, I will. Will you hope to mold our students and demonstrate knowledge, awareness, sensitivity, in social action? If so, say, "Yes, I will." Yes, I will. Are you prepared to learn how to teach all children, including children who learn differently? If so, say, "Yes, I will." Yes, I will. Well, I challenge you to show acts of kindness to children as you prepare them to become teachers. Prepare your heart and your mind. And thank you, Fort Valley State University candidates, for becoming a teacher. Prepare yourselves to be the light in the valley, for the valley, and throughout the valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dean Day Harrison, for those wonderful words of wisdom and motivational stories. Now, we have the recognition of the candidates. Our candidates will be coded by Dean Day Harrison and will receive their certificates from the academic advisor. Candidates, when your program is called, you are to stand and then proceed to be coded once your name is called. First, we will begin with the Agricultural Education Program, whose academic advisor is Dr. Curtis Bourne. Gabrielle Lindo. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabrielle Lindo. Next, we would like to have the elementary/special education program, whose academic advisor is Professor Latasha Pope. Will you all please stand? Danica Bailey. Montoya Carter. Maria Gatewood. Jerica Green. Devon Hauser. Catherine Johnson. Jasmine McQuarrie. Veronica Reynolds, who was not able to join us today, and Keisha Ryers. And lastly, Sharnacia Sapp. Congratulations to the elementary and special education program candidates. Next, we will have the middle grade education program, whose academic advisor is Professor Jessica Jefferson. Will you all please stand? Termesia Hunter. Delane Jones. myself, Devontae Sanders, and lastly, Tion Stroman. Congratulations, middle grade education teacher candidates. Lastly, we will have the health and physical education program candidates, whose academic advisor is Dr. Gregory Green. William Colson. Jasmine Neal. No, I'm sorry. And lastly, Mikhail Yancey. Congratulations to the health and physical education program candidates. Now we will have the educator's oath by Dr. Rebecca McMullen. At this time, will you all please stand and join me back on stage, and please let's spread out.
Aren't they beautiful? Give them a hand. Okay, can we see everybody? All righty. Thank you so much to the Kitchens family, to the Macon Links families, friends, faculty, and Dean Harrison, where are you? Did a beautiful job. I just appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, faculty and friends. I had the opportunity to teach many of these inductees, as they recall, in an orientation course. And this course was designed to recruit future teachers. I remember taking them on a field trip, and they had to read in a daycare center. Look at all them nodding. And that was an interesting event. At the end of that, they had to do what I call reflective commentary. And I wondered after that event, would they still want to be teachers? Because some of them, they were very positive, and some of them were okay. So I'm so glad to see that we have the remnants from that class. We had about 80 in that class, if the truth be told. And this is what we've ended up with. So again, I am so grateful to see you standing here. It represents the fruit of our labor, as Dean Harrison has said. These students, I also want to say, have mastered milestones, in case you're wondering. They passed background checks, they passed the ethics exam, they have passed the basic skills test, and their GPAs, they have those too. It takes a lot to get into the teacher ed program, and it takes strength and it takes encouragement. And I want to stop again and ask you to give them a round of applause because they are beautiful. They've gone through the milestones and we're so grateful for them. So it gives me great pleasure to lead you through the Educator's Oath. I'd like for you to take your candle, hold it in your right hand, place it near your heart, okay? And repeat after me. I pledge to fulfill, to the best of my ability, this covenant. I will deliver instruction, based upon best practices. I will be a lifelong learner. I will build relationships with my students, my colleagues, and all stakeholders. I will effectively integrate technology into my lessons. I will meet the needs of each of my diverse learners. I will demonstrate mastery of content knowledge and pedagogical skills. I will create a positive and engaging learning environment. I will be caring and nurturing. I will remember that I do not teach just a lesson plan, but a human being. I will be the proficient educator that my Fort Valley State University educator preparation program has prepared me to be. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Please call upon us as you are going through your program. Okay, this is just the start. So you may take your seats at this time, and thank you so much.
Congratulations again. Now, we will have our scholarship presentations by Mrs. Phyllis Kitchens Thurman.
Again, my name is Bill. Every was the 2015 scholarship recipient of the Dr. Justine Kitchens. Graduates of Newport Valley State University go with me because I want the world, I want the places that I go to see what we are producing here. And Dr. I'm sorry, Dr. Stoddard, I'm claiming that everyone is the teacher of the university school.
Back on campus since graduating from the Fort Valley State University in spring 2017. I, as Ms. Kitchens has said, was a recipient, so I know how it feels to sit in your seat that you are sitting in. I know what it feels to have worked so hard, tirelessly hard, to get where you are. I would tell anyone that those who have matriculated through the College of Education at the Fort Valley State University work harder than any other college on campus. So definitely hold your heads high, walk on this campus knowing that you have a future, you have a plan that you are setting forth, accomplishing, and I wish you all the best. Please know that any support that you ever need, you have it in your alumni.
Thank you so much. Video for y'all to see, but I don't think it's going to be able to be played, but I think the people at home will be able to see it. So we're going to save some time here and just go ahead and go into the awards presentation. The first award is the Harriet Barfield Black Award, and this scholarship is for $1,000. And again, these scholarships are coming from the Kitchens family. This is coming from our heart. This is hard-earned money that we're giving to the students here because this is how much we believe in you. So the Harriet Black Barfield Scholarship is presented to Catherine Johnson. The next award is named after my mother, Mildred Kitchens Tuggle Award, and this award is for $1,500. And this scholarship goes to Tian Stroman. The next two scholarships are named after my aunt, Dr. Justine Kitchens. And this next scholarship, these scholarships were need-based. The next scholarship is for $2,500. And it goes to Trinacia Sack. Just Teen Kitchen Scholarship. This is for $5,000. And this award goes to Termesia Hunter. I thank you again for allowing me to be here. I'm sorry, one last award. This award is from the Kitchens family, and this is actually an award of appreciation to the College of Education and Professional Studies. Again, we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for opening up your arms to our family and just letting us be a part of this. Okay, I want to say this. My mom is here. Mildred Tuttle Kitchen's mom, can you please stand up? She's class of 1957. And the young man that's helping Jalen actually received the scholarship in my mother's name last year. So, Jalen, we are so proud of you. We are so proud of you. Next, I think we're going to have Mallory Gaddis with the links. I went and bought me a blue coat. I wanted to have a blue jacket.
Afternoon. On behalf of the Macon, Georgia chapter of the Links Incorporated, we present you all with a celebratory gift. These items are to help you in the next steps in your journey to becoming lifelong educators. Congratulations on this achievement. Thank you all. So they wanted me to let you know what we gave you all. So all of you all have book bags. So if you would go ahead and open those up. These book bags, you can also travel with them as well as carry them into when you're going to class, okay? Inside the book bags, we have your name badges. And inside that, we have a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. So you guys make sure you have lunch on us. Also, you have a book. Today, I became a teacher. Just some inspirational words to kind of help you through those days, okay? And then the last thing we have is our Linkage to Life, just about being an organ donor, some hand sanitizer, and different things of that nature. And the last thing we have in the Macon, Georgia chapter of the Links Incorporated, we have several retired educators. And they want to give you all just words of inspiration to keep going. We really thank you all for going into this amazing profession. You all are literally the foundation of every profession in the world. So we thank you for making this chance, this opportunity, and we wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Now, we'll have our special awards presentation presented by Dr. Gregory Green. Following him, we'll have our closing remarks by Dr. Beth Dave Harrison.
Good afternoon again. If you listen to that message from Dr. Dave Harrison, you have to be moved by the words, the motivation, advice that she gave us. A very powerful speech on proficient teachers, told about her experience. Then she informed us about a young man named Teddy Stoddard, who basically started out in elementary school as a nobody, no one wanted to be around, but ended up in life as a medical doctor. So eloquently told Dr. Harrison. Dr. Harrison, come forward for just a moment, please. I would like to take a moment to present to you this award, and it reads as follows. Fort Valley State University Educator Preparation Program Induction Ceremony 2021. Keynote speaker, Dr. Beth Dave Harrison, Dean of the College of Education and Professional Study, on this day, Thursday, April 27th, 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I do not want to stand between you all and lunch, but today was a celebration, and if I could sing, I would sing a song of celebration, but I can't sing, so I'm going to tell you today's event was monumental. We inducted 18 students into the College of Education and Professional Studies. Yes, the girls are being clapped. And this event was not held in a bubble. There were a lot of behind the scenes that took place. So I want to use this opportunity to first thank the people that served on the program, beginning with our provost, Dr. Stewart, who started preaching. I didn't know if he was a teacher or a preacher. I guess he was both. So thank you, Provost Stewart. Thank you, Professor Juwan Brown, for the invocation. Our masters of ceremony did an excellent job, so thank you. Thank you to Jalen for the introduction, and for our candidates. And most importantly, candidates, thank you for considering teaching. I want to thank the induction committee for a job well done. Professor Latasha Cope, who served as the chair, Professor Jessica Jefferson, Ms. Catherine Barrett, Dr. Gregory Green, Dr. Grace Seaman, George Brown, RJ Mathis, and Ms. Phyllis Kitchens-Burns. Thank you all so much. You did an excellent job putting together a very powerful program. Special thanks to the Kitchen family, moved by when alums think to give back to their university. So I do appreciate the gift of your time, your talent, and your resources. Anytime you go to an HBC, you're going to hear people say that one line about giving up your time, your talents, and your resources. Thank you to the Macon, Georgia chapter of the links for your generosity to our students. I was looking around to see if there was an extra bag for me, but I didn't see it, so I'll live vicariously through the children, through the young people. I didn't get to see the book bag, but hopefully somebody will hold it up so I can see it a little bit better. But thank you for your generosity. Thank you to the Office of the President, Marketing and Communications, and to our retired educators and family and friends who served on this call. Thank you so much for a wonderful occasion, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for being here.
One second, everyone. He has 2 more awards.
Okay, 2 more awards I have to do. Ms. Gaddis from the Links and the representative from the Links, would you all please come up, please? And we want to thank you for your commitment and support, especially for the nice badge book bags you just gave out and all the goodies you just gave out to our candidates. And more importantly, we want to thank you for serving as mentors for our candidates. So we have something we want to give you as well. And it reads, Fort Valley State University Educator Preparation Program Induction Ceremony 2021 Outstanding Contributor, the Macon, Georgia chapter of the Links Incorporated, Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. And the last award is the Kitchen Family Award. As Dr. Stewart has already said, the Kitchen family has been very important to Fort Valley State University in terms of support. In fact, when we first started our induction program many years ago, on board then, that's been way over a decade. The Kitchen family was here. And I believe it goes back to her mother, Miss Tupper, when she was started to college here, started that tradition. So we want to thank you for that, Ms. Tupper, as well. They have never wavered from their support of our candidates or Fort Valley State University. They've always been there when we needed them. So at this time, we want to give them an award also. And it reads as follows. Fort Valley State University Educator Preparation Program Induction Ceremony 2021 Outstanding Contributor, the Kitchen Family, Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. Let's give all our let's give them another hand of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Well, that concludes the ceremony for today. To our virtual participants, thank you for tuning in and have a great day. Candidates, congratulations again. But before you leave, please stay behind.
Hello, my name is Phyllis Kitchens Thurman. People ask me, Phyllis, why are you so crazy about the Fort Valley State University? And my answer is because it is in my DNA. I want to now introduce you to the Fort Valley State University legacy. My legacy begins with Harriet Barfield Black. In 1936, an 18-year-old Harriet Barfield entered Fort Valley Normal and Industrial School to pursue teacher training, one of two curriculums, the other being liberal arts. In 1938, she graduated and went to work for Bradley Elementary in Jones County for $47.50 a month. Determined to go back to college to get her degree, she saved every penny, applied, and was accepted to West Virginia College. In 1939, she was set to leave for West Virginia when Fort Valley Normal and Industrial School and State Teachers and Industrial College merged to form Fort Valley State College. She received a letter from Mr. Sims in the registrar's office asking her to come to Fort Valley to help form the first senior class of the college. Along with 20 other students, she graduated from Fort Valley State College in 1941, and by the luck of her last name, was the first four-year graduate of the new college to receive her degree. After graduating, my cousin became a second-grade school teacher in the Atlanta public school system, a role she treasured. Her name became so synonymous with consistent alumni giving at Fort Valley State University that the Fort Valley State University Foundation established a society in her honor, the Harriet Barfield Black Society. Mildred Tuggle Kitchens. My mother, Mildred Tuggle Kitchens, was born in Macon, Georgia. While attending Ballard Hudson High School, she always dreamed of becoming a teacher just like her cousin Harriet Barfield Black. Mildred entered the Fort Valley State University in 1953 and graduated in 1957 with a bachelor's degree in education. Her first job was in Bradley, Jones County, Georgia, where she taught the first grade. She, along with her cousins, who were also graduates of the Fort Valley State University School of Education, played a pivotal role in assisting with integrating the public school system in the 1970s. Mildred's uncle, William A. Black, was the first Black Jones County citizen to serve on the Board of Education. After 30 years of service, Mildred retired, later to return to assist with the establishment of the Jones County Head Start program. Mildred has taught thousands of residents and has been honored by the Jones County Board for her dedication to education. The Fort Valley State University instilled in her a firm foundation that she will forever be grateful for. She is a life member of the Alumni Association and wears her pen with pride. And you know, I don't think she has ever missed a Fort Valley homecoming game. Dr. Justine Kitchens. My aunt, Dr. Justine Kitchens, one of 9 children, grew up in Bradley, Georgia. Her mother was determined that her younger children would receive a college education and encouraged them to pursue their dreams. After graduating in 1964 from Maggie Califf High School, Justine joined her older sister at the Fort Valley State University. She worked hard every summer to save her money so that she could return the next year. Justine completed her Bachelor of Science in Education in 1968 and then went on to complete a Master of Education from the University of Georgia, a Specialist in Education from Georgia Southwestern State University, a Specialist in Education from South Carolina State University, and a Doctorate of Education from South Carolina State University. She retired from the Bibb County School System with 40 years of service. My Aunt Justine believed in education and encouraged all of her nieces and nephews to reach for the stars. She expressed her love for the university to me often. So after her untimely death, it was only befitting for me to establish an endowment in her honor. She was one of my favorite people in the world, and I loved her to the moon and back because it was her that made me reach for the stars.